Yeah. Know what it is by now. Your boy DL47 on the grind, AM PM all day for real in this building, AM PM popping off, handling that business, revisiting as much rugby league information as possible. Right now, the 1944 Wooden Spoon in Australian Rugby League, going to Canterbury, their second consecutive Wooden Spoon. And if you don't want to miss out any important rugby league information, you need to watch this video all the way till the end. So, like I said already, like in the previous couple of videos, in the 1942 NRL Grand Final, Canterbury had beaten St George 11 points to 9, but then somehow went from premiers all the way down to wooden spooners in 1943 and in 1944, believe it or not. I find absolutely astonishing. And like we always do, we go through how many games they won and lost, their for and against, their top try and point scorers, and their most embarrassing moment in the sun for the season they got the wooden spoon. So, let's begin by saying in 1944, Canterbury this time played the usual 14 games, 3 wins, 10 losses and 1 draw, compared to in 1943, 3 wins and 11 losses, so statistically it's only slightly better, but like I said, keep watching this video to find out how it was actually slowly improving. I said also in 1943, when Canterbury got the wooden spoon, that East and West were the other two struggling teams in 1943, and they were again in 1944, but unlike 1943, where West's, just like Canterbury, won 3 games and lost 11, and Canterbury only got the spoon because they had worse for and against, this time, West and East both managed to outright avoid the wooden spoon. So with Canterbury's 3 wins and 1 draw for 7 competition points, East had 4 wins and 10 losses, 8 competition points, and West had 4 wins, 8 losses and 2 draws for 10 competition points. So all 3 of them did slightly better, but it was unfortunately Canterbury who still got the spoon. I said Canterbury's for and against was minus 129 points in 1943, but in 1944 they scored 206 points this time and conceded 297, so the for and against minus 91. Then we got something absolutely baffling coming up right now in the next 10 seconds. The leading try scorer for the season, there was a Canterbury player called Alf Wattsford, and he got 10 tries for them in 1944, and that was the only season he ever played Rugby League in Australia, ever, for any team. And the leading point scorer, just like in 1943, Wyn Johnson, he'd gotten 16 goals for 32 points in 1943. 1944, he'd gotten 20 goals for 40 points, a bit better. But Wyn Johnson, this player, I don't know if there's actually any other player who's ever achieved such a unique statistical distinction in their career. Wyn Johnson, a player who never scored a try. He only scored goals in his entire career for Canterbury. No tries, no field goals. Just 144 goals for 288 points altogether, which is incredible. And he actually played long enough for him to get a try. He played for Canterbury between 1940 up to 1946, so that's long enough to at least get a few tries. And he, of course, in the 1942 Grand Final, when they beat St George 11 points to 9, he got 4 goals in said Grand Final to help him to that premiership victory. Somehow, in his entire career, never a try, just goals only. I find it quite incredible. Wow. Then, we've also got to relive Canterbury's improvement. Yes, drastic improvement over the second 2/3 of the 1944 season. They began in typical struggling fashion by losing the first 5 consecutive games, so that was always going to put them in wooden spoon contention. Then, some bright patches. The 3 games and the one draw that they did have, 3 wins and 1 draw that they did have, I should say. The 1944 round 6 game, they'd beaten East 25 points to 18. Okay, East only a battling team. But then in round 7, Canterbury had upset St George in a gigantic upset, 22 points to 12 over Saints, and Saints of course made the finals in 1944. In round 10, believe this or not, the wooden spooner, Canterbury, pulled off a 13-all draw with Balmain, and Balmain ended up runners-up in 1944. The 1944 Grand Final, Newtown beat Balmain 12 points to 8. No. Balmain beat Newtown, I should say, 12 points to 8 in the 1944 Grand Final. So this Canterbury's 13-all draw against the eventual premiers is what I should be saying. Clarify that properly. So obviously, yes, some signs of improvement. Then in the last round, 1944 round 14, even though it wasn't enough to avoid the wooden spoon, Canterbury this time beat semi-finalist South Sydney 22 points to 8. So some impressive wins, even though they had all the usual losses and still got the spoon. Some impressive wins and some sign of improvement for Canterbury. So, the most embarrassing moment is a pretty clear-cut one. Most embarrassing moment and moment in the sun, both against the same team, ironically. The 1944 round 4 game, where they lost the first 5 games. In round 4, they were walloped by eventual premiers, I should say, Balmain. 46 points to 12 in round 4. But then obviously the moment in the sun is that incredible 13-all draw with eventual premiers Balmain in 1944 round 10. So there you go. Now, it gets even more twisted, more insane coming up. I think I've said it already. But in the 1945 and 1946 Australian Rugby League seasons, not West and it's not Canterbury getting the wooden spoon. The same team get it twice. So you need to tune in. You need to tune in a few days from now to when I get around to doing 1945, 1946 wooden spoon. Tune in to find out who got it. In 1945, they won 1 game only. In 1946, they won no games. So there won't be a moment in the sun in 1946, but that's just the way it goes, I suppose. If you're still watching all the way to the end, thank you so much for ongoing continued support. And thank you for not missing out any important, essential rugby league information by watching this video all the way to the end. Subscribe to this channel to find stacks of other essential rugby league information with your boy, all day for real, or even know the drill by now. To Hill 47, toodaloo.